Hello, everybody. Hope you're all having a great week so far. And I'm Andrew Clumbro here from Saavi Services for the Blind here to present another episode of Meet the Blind for this month's National Blind Awareness Month. I'm here joined by our very own Colin Wong. Colin, thank you for joining us, and how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in front of everyone today.
Of course, yeah. I know you're quite a familiar face as you've been on a couple of Lunch and Learn episodes from our Facebook page in weeks prior and months prior. So welcome again. And just for a little bit of background, what is your current role at Saavi? I know you just obtained a new position, so maybe just talk about that as well.
Definitely. So my new position at Saavi is the comprehensive program and training coordinator. So what that means is I work with students on their services when they're going through the comprehensive day program, and also work with the instructors on making sure that the students program is individualized to their specific needs, including developing curriculums and basically making sure that they're getting the best experience out of Savvy as much as possible, and working with the VR counselors on facilitating that relationship. And then when I have time, my previous role was as a O&M instructor, and when I have time, I still try to keep a couple students, so I get to still work with some O&M because that's still a large passion of mine. But most of the days now, I just stay as a comprehensive program and training coordinator. And last thing is that also means that I'm responsible for professional development with staff and making sure that they're getting the training that they need to be the best instructors and best staff members possible.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, congrats on the new position. That's very exciting news. And yeah, like that's awesome. And with that, I know you're with your busy schedule. I know things have been hectic, but I know you also have a lot of involvement with the National Federation of the Blind as well. I'm curious myself too. What is like some of the work that you do with the National Federation for the Blind?
Definitely. For the National Federation of the Blind, on a national level, I've been working on the Diversity and Inclusion Committee, and that the goal of that committee is to make sure that across the board that members feel like they're included and that there's no discrimination happening because of anything race related, ethnicity, culture, religion, sexual orientation. Uh, At the end of the day, the goal of the National Federation of the Blind is to be an inclusive, open environment for all. And so the committee has been created to make sure that that is happening across the board. On the state level, I'm a board member of the National Federation of the Blind of Arizona. So I've been working on a lot of different state initiatives. And one of the big roles I have is as one of the co-chairs of the education committee, where I'm working on improving the status of the education level for blind students across the state, and making sure that they're getting the IEPs that they need to be successful. And so whenever a parent needs an IEP advocate for their child, then they can reach out to me or Ashley Moon, who's the other co-chair, and we try to make sure that we're able to attend and make sure that during these meetings that the students are getting what they actually need to be successful in school. And then I am also in the Phoenix chapter as the second vice president and dealing with a lot of operation and logistics over there and making sure that that chapter is running successfully. And I'd say the last thing, this isn't necessarily with the National Federation of the Blind, but regarding structured discovery, which is a teaching model that we try to employ here at Savvy and that is supported by the National Federation of the Blind for the National Blindness Professional Certification Board. Um, One thing I do on the side is I'm also the lead for any apprentices that are coming in. So I work on as a lead of that committee to make sure that apprentices are getting the support that they need and are we're able to get professionals out there that are getting and teaching with the high expectations that we want out of blind students.
No, that's interesting. Yeah, that to think that yeah, so with the national with the national perspective and then the state perspective, like in different positions that you have, would you say you're more you do more work for the state of Arizona in terms of National Federation of the Blind, or does it usually go 50-50 in terms of the amount of work that you do for at the national level versus state level?
I would say it's about 50-50, and it's it comes in waves. Like last month, I did a lot of work for the state, but this month and the next, I'll probably do a lot. Well, this month, these next 2 months are probably going to be a lot for the state, but I see a lot of national things coming down the line that will definitely take a lot of attention. One thing that is going to be happening is a national O&M conference in Chicago, and so I've been asked to see if I can provide some help with that. So that's going to take a lot of time, and it's just a lot of it just comes in waves. So I think it ends up all evening out.
Yeah. And then as well, I know that a fun fact about you is that you're really into sports and that you love following sports whenever you can. And so maybe just talking a little bit about some of your favorite teams and like where did you grow up and what teams did you grow up following?
Yeah, definitely. I grew up in Fresno, California, so it was right between San Francisco and LA. And I grew up with my favorite player being Kobe Bryant, and so I always was a Lakers fan growing up. So I was so excited that they won the championship this year. Um, so that's where I've always been affiliated with the Los Angeles teams. I've always been a Lakers fan, and ever since the Rams moved to LA, I've been rooting for them as well. And as a whole, I just love basketball and football. Just being in that environment where it's just an amazing place to be in. So things that I like to do on my free time is, unfortunately, now all the stadiums are pretty much closed. But whenever I have the opportunity going to check out a sports game and being able to see different players in action, and I just love that stadium environment and seeing everybody being able to cheer on for one cause or just one thing, and being in an environment, the way I like to see sports is like every game history can be made, and it's like being in those environments just up close and personal. That's something I always love doing.
Yeah, me as well. I grew up in Seattle, but like my family, we've always been season ticket holders for like numerous years, ever since for a lot of the teams since they started. For at one point we had like Seattle Supersonics tickets as well, and so I grew up watching like Ray Allen and stuff. So I was like for me and Kevin Durant before they moved to Oklahoma City, which is unfortunate. But no, yeah, I always grew up around sports, and to me, it's still a very important part of my life and something that I still follow and still care for dearly in terms of playing it and watching it as a fan. Um,
Definitely.
yeah, so I think with that, I think this about wraps up this year's episode of Meet the Blind. Colin, thank you so much for your insight and thank you so much for your time and effort again. I hope you have a great rest of your day as well.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
And here at Saavi, it's not what you can see, it's about who you are.